The plea that broke the galaxy. The human relief ship Hopeseeker moved through the silent sky of a dying moon. The sky was dark and heavy with smoke, like the world itself was crying. Commander Rian stood at the front window, watching broken houses and burned fields pass below. He had seen war zones before, but this place felt different. It felt empty. It felt lost. "Sir, we are picking up weak life signs," the pilot said. "Land near the signal," Commander Rian ordered. The ship slowly touched down on cracked ground. Dust rose into the air, making everything look like an old memory. As the ramp opened, the human rescue team stepped out with food crates and medical kits. They expected to see survivors running to them, shouting for help. But instead, they saw something strange. Dozens of alien villagers stood far away, staring at the humans with wide, frightened eyes. Their skin was pale from hunger, and their bodies looked thin, like dry wood. None of them moved. None of them spoke. They only watched. A soft, shaky voice suddenly broke the silence. "Please, help us." An old alien grandmother slowly walked toward the humans. She was so weak that it looked like the wind could push her down. Her hands shook as she carried a small girl in her arms. The child was unconscious, her breathing small and weak. The grandmother stopped in front of Commander Rian, her knees almost giving up. For a moment, she tried to hold her strength. Then she fell to the ground and bowed so low that her forehead touched the dirt. "I beg you, take my granddaughter instead. Give her food. Save her." The human team froze. They had done rescue missions before, but no one had ever seen an alien offer their own grandchild to humans. It felt wrong. It felt heartbreaking. Commander Rian bent down slowly. "Stand up, please. Why would you offer the child like this?" The old woman raised her face. Tears ran down her cheeks. "I am too old. I will not survive. But she can still live. She can still have a future. I have nothing left. No food, no strength. Take her, please." Her voice cracked like dry wood breaking. Behind her, the other villagers lowered their heads. They were silent, as if they had already accepted their own fate. One human medic knelt beside the girl and checked her pulse. "She is very weak, sir. Almost no energy left." Commander Rian looked around. Everything felt wrong here. Too quiet. Too scared. "What happened to your people?" he asked. The grandmother swallowed hard. "The famine came. It destroyed our farms, our water, everything. And then they came." "They?" Rian asked. She did not answer. She only looked over her shoulder with fear, like something horrible was hiding in the smoke. Before Rian could ask again, the pilot's voice came through the communicator. "Commander, sensors are detecting movement, very fast." The ground vibrated slightly under their feet. The villagers cried out in fear and ran back toward the ruins. The grandmother grabbed Rian's uniform with shaking hands. No, they followed us." Rian stood up straight. "Who followed you?" Her voice trembled like breaking ice. "The hunters. The ones who want the girl. You must take her before they come." "What do they want with a child?" Rian asked. The grandmother hesitated. "She is special. She was born with a gift, a rare one. They believe she can see danger before it happens. They want to use her as a weapon." The human team exchanged shocked looks. A child with foresight. Before anyone could speak, the ship's alarm suddenly blared. "Commander," the pilot shouted, "unidentified ships approaching fast, very fast." The ground vibrated slightly under their feet. The villagers cried out in fear and ran back toward the ruins. The grandmother grabbed Rian's uniform with shaking hands. "Please, take her. If they capture her, they will never stop. They will bring war to every world. Save her." Rian looked at the unconscious girl. She was small, fragile, and innocent. How could anyone chase a child like this? He lifted her gently into his arms. "Everyone back to the ship," he ordered. But as they moved, the grandmother suddenly grabbed his arm again. "No, no, not me," she whispered. "I will stay. I am too weak. I will slow you down. Take only her." Rian shook his head. "No, we don't leave people behind." "But," he said, "no arguments. Both of you come with us." The grandmother stared at him with disbelief. Humans would risk their lives for strangers? Rian nodded. Every life matters. A loud explosion shook the ground. A bright light flashed in the distance. The enemy ships had arrived. Commander Rian tightened his grip on the girl and shouted, "Move, now!" The human team ran up the ramp, carrying the grandmother and the child aboard. The ramp closed just as another blast hit the ground nearby. Inside the ship, lights flashed red. The engines roared. As the ship lifted into the sky, the grandmother whispered one last warning, her voice full of terror. "They will not stop. They will take her, or they will kill all of you." Commander Rian stared through the window at the rising enemy ships. "Let them try," he said. The hook was now set. The danger was only beginning.
The chase begins. The Hope Seeker shot upward through the smoky sky, leaving the ruined moon behind. Inside the ship, alarms flashed red and warning screens lit up with enemy signals. The entire crew felt the pressure building, like a storm rising behind them. Commander Rian stood near the medical table where the small alien girl lay unconscious. Her breathing was weak, but still steady. The grandmother sat beside her, trembling with fear and exhaustion. She must survive," the grandmother whispered. "They cannot take her. If they do, they will turn her into something terrible." Rian looked at her carefully. "You said she has a gift. What kind of gift? What can she do?" The grandmother held the girl's hand tightly. "She can sense danger. She feels it seconds before it happens. This saved our village many times. She warned us about falling rocks, fires, storms, even small accidents." Rian frowned. "And the enemy wants to use this ability?" "Yes," the grandmother said. "They believe her power can guide their soldiers, make them unbeatable. They want her as their tool." A loud beep interrupted her. "Commander," the pilot shouted from the front. "Enemy ships are closing in. 5 small hunters, 1 large vessel behind them." Rian walked to the bridge. The screen showed red blips moving fast, chasing them in a narrow formation. "How did they find us so quickly?" asked the co-pilot. Rian replied, "They have been tracking the girl for months. They won't stop now." The ship shook as a laser beam passed close beside them. "Evasive maneuvers," Rian ordered. The Hope Seeker tilted sharply, dodging another blast. The villagers in the cargo section cried out as the ship swayed. Back near the medical table, the girl suddenly moved. Her tiny fingers twitched. Her eyelids fluttered. The grandmother leaned closer. "Lyra, can you hear me?" The girl opened her eyes just a little. Her voice was soft, like a whisper carried by the wind. "They are coming." "We know, child," the grandmother said. "Humans are helping us now." Lyra shook her head weakly. "No, not just them. Something bigger, something strong, dangerous." Before she could say more, she fainted again. The grandmother's eyes widened with fear. Rian returned. "How is she?" "She woke for a moment. She warned us. Something bigger is coming." Rian exhaled slowly. "Then we need to move even faster." The pilot shouted again, "Incoming fire!" The ship shook violently. Sparks burst from a panel. One engine dropped to half power. "We can't keep running like this," the co-pilot said. Rian looked at the star map. "Head into the asteroid field ahead." The pilot hesitated. "Sir, that field is unstable. Too dangerous." Rian pointed to the unconscious girl. "We have someone who sees danger before it happens. Trust her. The Hope Seeker turned sharply toward the giant asteroid belt. Huge rocks floating in all directions, like frozen mountains drifting through space. The enemy ships followed immediately. In the cargo area, the villagers held tightly to each other. The grandmother whispered a soft prayer. She lifted the girl's hand to her forehead. Please, Lyra, guide them. Show them the safe path. The ship entered the asteroid field. Giant boulders spinning slowly, dust clouds drifting like ghosts, narrow tunnels forming and closing. The place looked deadly. Steady, Rian shouted. Follow the gaps. A massive asteroid came rolling toward them. Right, Rian ordered. The pilot turned. Left, Rian ordered again. The pilot jerked the ship left. Now down. The ship dipped under a long stone ridge and rushed through a tight passage. Behind them, the enemy hunters followed, less careful, less skilled. One enemy ship struck a rock and exploded. Another clipped an asteroid and spun out of control. But the rest kept chasing. Rian shouted, "Keep going! Don't slow down!" The co-pilot looked terrified. "Commander, how are you predicting these safe paths? The field is moving too fast." Rian pointed toward the girl. "Because she warned us. Minutes ago, she sensed danger. She knew we needed to come here. Trust her." Another enemy ship crashed into debris and burst into fire. Only 2 hunters and the large vessel remained. The grandmother called out, "Commander, Lyra moved again." Rian rushed back. "What did she do?" She raised her hand toward the left side of the ship. "Maybe she senses something." Rian returned to the bridge. "Pilot, adjust course left." The pilot didn't question. He turned the ship sharply. A giant asteroid suddenly cracked and split open behind them, releasing massive rocks that tumbled outward. If they had stayed on the old path, they would have been crushed. The co-pilot whispered in shock, "She saved us! Again!" But the chase wasn't over. A loud, deep sound shook the ship. The pilot's voice broke in fear. "Commander, the large enemy vessel just entered the field." Rian stared at the screen. The huge silhouette of the enemy flagship appeared behind the asteroids. It was twice the size of the Hope Seeker, covered with glowing red markings, heavy armor, and long cannons. "They brought a warship," the grandmother whispered. Rian clenched his jaw. This was no rescue mission anymore. This was a hunt. And humans had become the protectors of a child the enemy would destroy entire worlds to capture. Rian spoke with calm determination. "Hold steady. We are not losing her, not today." And the chase continued deeper into the deadly asteroid maze, with danger on every side and the enemy growing closer.
The gift that could save or destroy worlds. The asteroid field grew darker as the Hope Seeker pushed deeper inside. Dust clouds floated like thick fog, and huge stones moved slowly around them, blocking the stars. The enemy warship followed behind, its red lights glowing like angry eyes in the shadows. Commander Ryan stood at the center of the bridge, watching every screen carefully. The ship was damaged. The crew was tired. And the child they were protecting was close to death. But turning back was not an option. "Commander, the enemy vessel is gaining on us," the co-pilot warned. Ryan looked at the map. "Keep moving forward. This child trusted us to survive. We will trust her." Down in the medical section, the grandmother sat beside Lyra's small body. The girl looked even weaker now. Her breathing was slow, her skin pale. She held the child's hand in both of hers, praying silently. A human medic approached carefully. "We are doing everything we can, but she needs real treatment, a full medical bay. We must escape this field." The grandmother nodded weakly. She has carried this gift too long. It hurts her. Every time danger comes, she feels it." The medic frowned. "What do you mean?" The grandmother sighed. "Her gift is not simple. It is not seeing the future, It is feeling danger in her body. Heavy danger makes her sick. Too much danger can kill her. The medic looked shocked. So, the more they chase her, the weaker she gets. Yes, the grandmother whispered, and they know this. They hope she will collapse so they can take her easily. Lyra suddenly moved. Her eyes opened slightly, though still tired and unfocused. She whispered one word. Stop. The grandmother leaned close. Stop? Stop what, child? Lyra lifted her small hand slowly and pointed toward the ceiling, toward the bridge above them. The grandmother called out, Commander, she is warning something. Ryan rushed in. What is she saying? She said, stop. She pointed upward. Maybe the path ahead is dangerous. Ryan didn't hesitate. He ran to the bridge. Pilot, slow down. Hold position. The ship immediately reduced speed. Seconds later, a massive asteroid slid down from above, passing exactly where the Hope Seeker would have been. It crushed several smaller rocks and continued drifting forward. The co-pilot's face turned pale. If we didn't stop, we would be gone. Ryan nodded slowly. She saved us again. But this raised a bigger question. Why was the child's ability so powerful? Why was she so important? Ryan returned to the grandmother. You must tell me the truth, everything. Why does the enemy want her so much? The grandmother looked tired, but she knew hiding anything now was useless. Our people call her the seer child. She was born during a rare star alignment. In our old stories, children born on that night can feel danger before anyone else. But Lyra? Her power is stronger than anything we have seen. Ryan listened carefully. How strong? The grandmother continued. Her gift, she feels danger not just seconds ahead, but minutes, sometimes longer. She feels threats in her body. She senses the paths that lead to survival. She knows when to hide, when to run, when to stop. She saved our entire village many times. Ryan understood now why the enemy wanted her. A child who could guide soldiers through battle? A child who could warn of traps? A child who could sense ambushes? Such a gift could change wars. Entire empires would fight for her. And the enemy? Why do they hunt her? The grandmother's voice shook. Because they want to rule all worlds. And with her gift, they will. No one will defeat them. No enemy will surprise them. No danger will scare them. They will be perfect warriors. Ryan clenched his jaw. We cannot let them take her. No, the grandmother whispered. If they take her, many worlds will fall. The ship suddenly shook. Lights flickered. Commander, the pilot yelled through the speaker. The large enemy vessel is firing into the asteroid field. They are blasting rocks away to make a path. Ryan ran to the bridge. On the screen, the enemy flagship fired powerful beams into the field, smashing huge asteroids aside. They were forcing their way toward us. They are forcing their way toward us, the co-pilot said. Ryan stared at the glowing red warship. Then we keep moving. The pilot shook his head. Commander, the asteroid field ahead is too thick. We can't go forward without crashing. Ryan asked, what about below? Below is even worse, the co-pilot said. Huge clusters of rock. No safe path. Ryan looked at the unconscious girl through the window. She couldn't speak. She couldn't guide them. Not in this state. And the enemy was almost upon them. Sir, the pilot said quietly, if we stay here, they will corner us. Ryan took a deep breath. Then we don't stay here. He gave one simple, bold order. Take us deeper. Move into the dark zone. The co-pilot stared in fear. Commander, no. No one enters the dark zone. Not even enemy ships.
That's why it's safe. We go where they won't," the grandmother whispered, terrified. "The Dark Zone is a place of dead ships, lost travelers, and dangers no one understands." Ryan replied firmly, "Then let it scare them, not us." The engines roared. The Hope Seeker turned downward and began its descent into the darkest, most dangerous part of the asteroid maze, where no one had ever returned.
Into the Dark Zone. The Hope Seeker moved deeper into the Dark Zone, where sunlight faded and shadows grew thick. The ship lights cut through empty silence, revealing broken metal pieces and remains of old ships floating like ghosts. The air felt colder. Even the crew's breathing became softer, as if the darkness itself was listening. Commander Ryan stood at the bridge window, watching giant shattered holes drift slowly past them. "Keep sensors alert," he said. "This place is full of danger." "Hi, Commander," the pilot answered, his voice tight with fear. Behind them, the co-pilot whispered, "I've heard stories about this place. Ships enter, but they never come out." Ryan replied calmly, "Well, today we changed that story." The pilot swallowed hard before continuing forward. Down in the medical section, Lyra lay unconscious, but her body twitched now and then, as if she was feeling something in her dreams. The grandmother sat with her, stroking her hair gently. A human medic approached. "Her condition is unstable. The longer she feels danger, the more she weakens. We need to escape this zone quickly." The grandmother nodded. "I know, but the girl does not choose danger. Danger runs to her." The medic shook his head. "Then we must protect her. That is our mission now." Suddenly, the lights flickered. The ship shook violently, as if something had hit them. The pilot shouted from the bridge, "Commander, we're picking up strange energy waves around us, no known source." Ryan rushed to the screens. Lines of static moved across every monitor. Could be old mines, some kind of ancient trap system. Ryan shook his head. "No, mines don't make energy waves like this." The grandmother's voice came through the speaker. "Commander, something is waking." Ryan hurried to the medical section. "What do you mean, something is waking?" She pointed at Lyra. "Her gift is reacting. She senses something very old in this place, something that has been sleeping." As she spoke, Lyra's eyes opened slowly. She whispered in a weak voice, "Don't stop. Don't turn back. Keep going forward." Ryan bent beside her. "Why, Lyra? Is something chasing us?" The child shook her head slightly. "No. Something ahead will help." Ryan's eyes widened. "Help? What kind of help?" But she could not speak more. She fainted again. Ryan returned to the bridge, thinking hard. "Pilot, increase speed. Move deeper." The pilot blinked. "Sir, we don't even know what's ahead." "We're trusting the girl," Ryan said firmly. "She hasn't been wrong once." The Hope Seeker sped deeper into the Dark Zone. Strange glowing objects appeared, blue crystals floating in space, pulsing softly like beating hearts. The co-pilot whispered, "These are not natural." Suddenly, the sensors beeped sharply. "Commander!" The pilot shouted, "The enemy flagship just entered the Dark Zone behind us." Ryan looked at the screen. The giant warship moved slowly, but surely, crushing smaller rocks around it. "They're following," Ryan said. "They won't stop." The grandmother's trembling voice echoed again through the speaker. "Commander, we cannot outrun them forever." Ryan stared at the glowing crystals. "We won't outrun them. We will outsmart them." The co-pilot frowned. "How?" He pointed at the crystals outside. "Look at them. They are reacting to our energy. They might be part of something bigger." The pilot asked, "Sir, are you suggesting we use the environment as a weapon?" Ryan nodded. "Yes. If this place is dangerous for everyone,
The enemy will suffer too." Before anyone could speak, the ship lights flickered again. A deep roar echoed across the hull, as if the darkness itself was alive. "Commander, what was that?" the co-pilot whispered. Ryan didn't answer. He stared forward as a massive shadow moved between drifting rocks. It was another ship, but not a normal one. It was ancient, covered in cracks, made of dark metal with glowing blue veins running through its hull. It looked like it had been asleep for centuries. The pilot gasped. What is that?" The grandmother whispered from the speaker. "The Watchers, the old guardians of the Dark Zone." The ancient ship suddenly activated. Blue lights flared across its surface. Energy spread outward like waves. The Hope Seeker vibrated, but its systems remained stable. Then, the enemy warship arrived behind them. It fired a massive beam toward the humans. Before the beam hit, the ancient guardian ship responded. A blue shield erupted around it and absorbed the attack. The enemy commander sounded shocked through intercepted radio waves. "What is that vessel?" The ancient ship turned its glowing blue eyes towards the enemy. Ryan whispered, "Lyra was guiding us to this." The co-pilot asked in awe, "Commander, is it protecting us?" "Yes, it's choosing sides." The enemy warship fired again. The Guardian ship moved at incredible speed, blocking the attack with its glowing hull. "It's defending us," the pilot cried. "Then we strike back." He sent orders to the weapon team. "Target the enemy engines. Fire when ready." The Hope Seeker fired 2 precise shots. The enemy flagship's engines sparked, losing power. The Guardian ship unleashed a final blast of blue energy. It hit the enemy warship hard, pushing it back into the asteroid field. A large asteroid crashed into the enemy hull. The battlefield shook. The grandmother whispered softly, "Humanity does not abandon children, and now even the old guardians rise for her." But the battle was not over yet. The enemy flagship was damaged, but not destroyed. Its massive cannons slowly charged for a final strike. The Hope Seeker prepared for the last stand.
The future the child saw. The enemy flagship floated in the shadows of the dark zone, its armor cracked, engines smoking, but still dangerous. Red warning lights flashed across its surface, and the giant cannons slowly charged for a final shot. Even in the presence of the ancient Guardian ship, the enemy was not giving up. Commander Ryan stood at the center of the bridge of the Hope Seeker, eyes locked on the giant screens. His crew waited for his command, fear and courage mixing inside their hearts. "Status on the Guardian ship," Ryan asked. The co-pilot checked the readings. "Its energy levels are dropping fast, Commander. It used a massive amount of power to protect us." Ryan nodded. "And the enemy?" "Charging for a last blast," the pilot said. "If they fire, it will destroy us completely." Ryan lowered his head for a moment, thinking. The Hope Seeker was small compared to the enemy giant. They could not outrun it. They could not take another full hit. Unless they used what made humans different. Their courage. Ryan turned to the medic. "How is the girl?" The medic replied. "She is weak but stable. She woke up for a moment and whispered something." The grandmother stepped forward. Her voice was quiet but firm. She said, "Don't fear the light. Use it." Ryan frowned. "The light?" The grandmother nodded. "Maybe she meant the Guardian ship. Its energy is light. Blue light." Ryan looked at the screens. The Guardian ship glowed softly, blue veins pulsing through its old hull. It drifted slowly like a tired giant. Then Ryan understood. She wants us to link with it. The crew turned in shock. "You mean connect our systems?" the co-pilot asked. "Yes," Ryan said. "If we connect our ship's energy with the Guardian's energy, we may create something stronger." "But Commander," the pilot warned, "that could overload us. We might explode." Ryan looked at the unconscious child through the window.
This girl has not been wrong once. She guided us into this place. She brought us to the Guardian. She kept us alive. If she believes the light will save us, then we trust her." The grandmother wiped tears from her eyes. "Please, please save her future." Ryan touched the console. "Prepare energy link. Full power." The crew worked quickly, fingers shaking, connecting the ship's core to the Guardian's frequency. Blue particles appeared on the screens as the link began forming. The enemy flagship's giant cannon glowed brighter and brighter, red energy building like a rising storm. "Commander," the pilot shouted, "they are almost ready to fire." "Hold steady," Ryan said. Blue light from the Guardian ship spread outward, touching the Hope Seeker like soft waves. The ship hummed, panels glowed, every light turned blue. "Link at 50%, the co-pilot said. The enemy cannon roared louder. 60%. More blue veins spread across the Hope Seeker as if the old ship was giving them breath. 70%. The enemy cannon was seconds away from firing. 80%. The ship shook but held together. 90%. Ryan shouted, "Prepare weapon systems." Then, the enemy cannon fired. A massive red beam shot across space, straight toward the Hope Seeker. "Link complete!" the co-pilot cried. Ryan slammed his hand on the control. "Now, fire the light!" The Hope Seeker unleashed a massive blue beam made of combined human and Guardian energy. The blue beam clashed with the red enemy blast, lighting up the entire dark zone. The two energies pushed against each other like two storms fighting in the sky. The grandmother held Lyra tightly. "Please, please." Lyra's eyes opened weakly. She whispered, "Forward. Push forward." Ryan heard her voice through the comms. "Full power," he ordered. "Everything we have." The ship pushed all its energy into the beam. Lights flickered, sparks flew, panels cracked, but the ship did not stop. The blue beam grew stronger, brighter, hotter. Finally, it broke through the enemy's red blast. The blue light slammed into the enemy flagship. A giant explosion shook the entire dark zone. Fire burst from the enemy hull. Armor shattered. Engines died. The warship broke apart into burning pieces. Silence followed. Then cheers erupted through the Hope Seeker. "We did it!" the pilot shouted. "They're gone! She saved us!" The grandmother cried tears of joy. The Guardian ship floated peacefully, as if watching them with pride. Its blue lights dimmed slowly, like a star falling asleep. "It protected us," Ryan whispered, "and now it rests." The grandmother carried Lyra gently to the bridge. The small child lifted her weak hand toward the Guardian ship and smiled. "I saw this future. Humans helping us, and the Guardian helping you." Ryan knelt in front of her. "You're safe now, Lyra. No one will chase you again." She nodded slowly. "Home. I want to go home." "And you will," Ryan promised. "We'll take you to a safe human colony. You and your grandmother will live in peace." The grandmother bowed deeply. "We owe you our lives, our future, everything." Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder. "Humanity does not abandon children. Not ever." The Hope Seeker turned around and began its journey out of the dark zone. Behind them, the old Guardian ship watched silently before fading back into the shadows it came from. The danger was gone. The chase was over, and the future the child saw had finally arrived.